and welcome to a slow day in my life. I have got a day off work today, which is very nice. I don't have any streams, any technical filming to get done. Only filming I'm gonna get done today is this, and that's just taking you guys along on my day. I don't have any editing to do, any other work responsibilities, which means that today is for cozy hobbies, taking it slow and doing whatever it is that my heart desires, which is why I woke up early this morning and I trained. I figured I'd do just a little bit of taekwondo in the morning, and I knew after I wrapped that up and I got ready and I had an early morning FaceTime call with my dad that what I wanted to do was actually go to a coffee shop, get some reading done. I am planning on taking The Count of Monte Cristo with me, as well as Fullmetal Alchemist Volume 3, so that I can get some reading done. And then also my current crochet project. I am still working on my cardigan, and it's taken quite a bit of time just because it requires a lot of granny squares. I think in total it's like 36 of them. And at present I am only, I think, 18 granny squares in. I've got a nice stack going in the office. However, it is many a granny square to get done, and I want to finish the one I'm currently on because I've been on the same granny square for about a week now, I think, and I've been really procrastinating any further progress. So I'm gonna take that yarn with me, finish out that square, and then I want to hit up a bookstore today, even if it's just to browse, just for the feel of being in a bookstore. And I also want to visit the store that I've always wanted to go to. I've never set time aside to do it. It is called Long Play, which is a vinyl store slash coffee shop. I'm thinking maybe taking a book with me, sampling some vinyl, see if I take something home with me. I feel like that would be really nice. And then just kind of settling in the evening and doing something very cozy together with some more reading. The possibilities are endless. I love me a good day off where I can just follow my heart, pour back into my own cup, and making sure that I'm taking care of myself and that I also make space for the things that I like doing in my own time. And then I thought I'd share a little bit of that with you guys. Let's get started. Let's grab everything and let's go to a coffee shop to have breakfast, to do some reading. And after I'm back, I'll update you on whatever it is I ended up reading while I was there. And hopefully I'll also have finished my granny square. Fingers crossed. But before we get started with today's video, I do have to give a massive shout out to Keach, who I'm partnering with today to bring you guys this video. And you guys already know, you might not be strangers to my love for Keach and them being one of my favorite hair care accessory brands, because I've worked with them before, I have raved about them before, and today is gonna be no different. I know I'm not the only one whose hair can be quite pesky. My scalp is really sensitive. I find that not every product cleans out my hair very well, and Keach has really come through for me with the rice water protein shampoo and conditioner bars for a multitude of reasons. Not only does this combo help repair damaged hair follicles and prevent split ends, but they also cleanse and condition the hair and scalp to encourage overall hair length and density. Not to mention as well the fact that it's super gentle on the head. I love it. I have friends that use it as well and love how gentle it is, and at the end you're left with the most moisturized soft hair. If you guys could touch my hair right now, this is it in its natural state, and I left it purposefully this way because I did wash it out this morning so that you guys could see what it looks like right after washing. And again, how shiny, how soft it is. If you guys could touch it, I would let you do so, because it needs to be felt for you to understand what it is that I'm referencing. That is really only something I experience with their products. With their shampoo and conditioner bars, you also don't have to worry about any single-use plastic, which means that you'll run through your bar and you don't have to worry about hitting back on the environment, which is an aspect of their products that I really do adore. They're also sulfates, parabens, silicone, and phthalate free, and each bar is under $11 with the discount code I am about to shout out. However, if you do get the set, it is also under $21, which is an amazing deal. And you can also do their subscribe option if you want to make sure to have your goodies every single month so that you can wash your hair without missing a date. And they ship to over 90 countries on top of the US. So if you do want to check Keach out and everything that they've got to offer, like their rice water protein shampoo and conditioner bars, as well as their shower caddies and their hair towels and every other accessory they have got to offer, make sure to click the link in the description or scan the QR code here on the screen and use my code MelReads25, which will be auto-applied site-wide if you either click on the link or scan the QR code. But you can get all of your goodies at the most amazing price available, so don't say I didn't tell you, because I love them the most. And we can get right on started with our day. Friends, let us play a game of guess who. Guess who forgot her book at home? Me. I did. I should have known because as I was going downstairs and I was catching the elevator to grab the Uber, I had a feeling that something was staying behind. Like I just had that moment of I feel like I'm missing something and I just don't know what it is. My guys, I totally left Monte Cristo at the same spot where I was updating you earlier, which is my living room credenza. And I left it there because I had the thought as I was packing everything earlier that I was gonna take this with me like on my hands just because it didn't fit into the book sleeve on top of everything else I had put on the book sleeve, and I left it. I totally did. And this was the one thing this morning that I was like, I want to read Monte Cristo because I am currently 39 pages in. I'm about to start chapter 5 and I'm enjoying this a lot. I had heard that this book was like very conversational, almost having this gossip-esque tone to it. And so far it's definitely the case. Getting to see Dante's getting to the pier and arriving with the ship that he sailed a couple of months back and arriving with all of the treasures that Moral had requested the ship to scavenge for, and then going to Catalans, also known as Cataluñas, to see Mercedes for the first time in a while after seeing his father, who he very much adores, and then having Danglars and Caderousse follow after him because Danglars specifically doesn't want to see this young man succeed because he is currently vying for a position of captain based on things that happened at the start of the book that kind of left the position up for grabs, and Moral very much is down for Dante's assuming that position because he just has that natural leadership to him. He has a lot of qualities that he looks for in a captain, but Danglars is not down for that. And so this book so far is so very entertaining. It's a little bit maddening just because you can already tell this vendetta that Danglars is developing for Dante's as, again, a very young, charismatic man who, despite being on the poorer end, seems to have everything going for him. Again, he has the girl, he has a dad who loves him, and he's making an honest living, and he seems to be very praised by the people around him. I also love that the lighting is fluctuating a lot right now. You can tell it's still like those hours in the morning where the light is fluctuating and finding its spot. The sun is still figuring out what to do. But yeah, he's earning an honest living and being praised for it, and it doesn't settle well with Danglars. And you know, it's very much a real life situation where there's people that don't want to see others thrive, and it's very much what's happening here. And based on what it says on the back and what I know of the classic, it essentially says that Dante's is convicted of a crime he did not commit, and it's essentially a story of revenge. And I'm not sure what that is. I have an inkling, and I'm not sure if it's that or if it's gonna be something else, but I'm just waiting for that moment where I'm sure Danglars will say or do something to mess up Dante's, because he's already started, you know, trying to drop the seed of doubt into Moral's ear about who Dante's is as a person, fully putting his ethics and his moral into question. And I think it's really interesting. It's also surprisingly accessible. Like, there's obviously things that my brain wants to overpronounce because there's a lot of French terms terminology. The author is French, but that aside, I really am enjoying it. And I woke up this morning after not having picked this book up for a week because I was focusing on reading Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, that I wanted to pick this up today. And I'm still gonna read this at some point of the day, but I thankfully did end up taking something with me. I think it would have been way worse if I hadn't taken anything at all, and if that would have been my mistake, but I did end up taking Fullmetal Alchemist Volume 3, which you guys know I'm loving the series. I managed to get to page 76, so I read some. I was crashed by one of my friends. She had texted me to see what I was up to today. She was planning on going to one of my favorite bookshops, but they're closed today. And so I told her what coffee shop I was at, and she got there with her husband. And so we were all just kind of hanging out. Her and I were just, chatting it up, crocheting together. So thank God I took something to crochet with me. And I did manage to read a little bit before she got there. So you guys already know. I don't know how much I want to, kind of beat at a dead horse with Fullmetal Alchemist. I feel like I've been talking about it a lot recently. However, in the series, we follow brothers Edward and Alphonse who go about an alchemical ritual very, very wrong because they don't particularly realize that in the process of alchemy, whatever it is that you demand of it, it'll demand back and it'll take something of equal value. And as they're performing this very dangerous ritual, Edward, our main character, ends up losing an arm and a leg, and his brother Alphonse ends up losing his complete physical body. And so Edward binds his soul to that of a metal armor to keep him alive and around. Meanwhile, they figure out how to, reclaim that arm, that leg, and Alphonse's body, and they go about their adventures. Edward is a state alchemist known as the Fullmetal Alchemist because he's very capable, he's very powerful. People are very scared of him, and his name definitely is of renown, and they are on the hunt for the Philosopher's Stone, which Edward specifically thinks hold a lot of the answers for how to get these things back, except that it's not so easy. The 7 deadly sins are involved. They don't want him gone per se, like they don't want to take him out completely, but they also don't want him close to the Philosopher's Stone. And I kind of wonder if there's an ulterior motive as to why, or if just in general they don't want alchemists to mess with that sort of power, which is very seemingly infinite. And I'm loving the series. I think the writing is really good. The illustrations are lovely. I think it's refreshing because it's written by a woman, which, as you guys know, the manga spaces are predominantly men, and often with that, it can be, very misogynistic. Sometimes it can also have a lot of fan service, which can be unenjoyable. And I think this one, you can tell, has like that, women's touch, where the characters are incredibly well fleshed out and the relationship between the brothers is fantastic. I love how they keep each other grounded and how they, hold up their moral code, and they're not willing to sacrifice that, even though, they are state alchemists, so they have to kind of adhere to also their specific code, but they kind of live by their own rules in a way, by their own morals, making sure that they always do the right thing. And they're always there for each other regardless of what the situation is. And I think the circumstances surrounding their past have made them even more, tight as siblings. Even though at times, there are doubts about each other, they know that nobody's going to be there for each other the way that they are. And not only that, but they're also incredibly young. So what they experienced at a very young age. And both of them had to step up essentially as teenagers because they're like 16 and 14, I think, respectively. And they've had to step up to make sure that they, have a way to survive by themselves. I think it's such a nice series so far, and I can't wait to keep on reading it. And so Volume 3, although not my TBR, Monte Cristo is also not my TBR, by the way, but 2 things that I'm like, yeah, I want to be reading right now. And I did finish my, whoa. I was like, what's that? This is whatever was left of the skin that I was using for this granny square for the cardigan, and I finished it. I finished this granny square, which is great. And now I have to start the next one and keep on making progress with the granny squares because I am nowhere near done with the cardigan. And it's not that I want to be done with it. Like, of course I want to, because I want to see it like fully assembled and done. However, I am enjoying the process of it. And sometimes, I procrastinate, and I've been procrastinating on it recently, so I'm glad I got this done. I am definitely gonna have to pick out another color so that I can take that with me because, you never really know what the day awaits. I might go to the bookstore, then to the vinyl store, And while I'm there, sit down, read, crochet, you never know. I'm taking today at my own pace, to be very honest. I'm not too concerned about finishing this. I mean, I'm evidently not gonna finish Monte Cristo, so let me not even utter that as a sentence. But you know, it might be nice to have options with me when I go out, to have a little bit of everything and make sure that I can make, you know, these decisions on the fly. I am gonna go with my brother, so he will keep me company during the next couple of hours. I love that today was supposed to be a very, I guess, like self-isolating day. I want to have those days every once in a while, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, you know, the nature of this job is very social and I love it. And, you know, with live streaming on Patreon several times a week, most often than not, about 3 to 4 times a week, I can be very peopled out sometimes. Plus, you know, hanging out with people in my own life, and then going to Taekwondo class, having to socialize there, and then going about everything else, it can be quite taxing. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a day by myself, it's gonna be great. And now I'm surrounded by people. It's like I attract them like flies do. I don't know what that's about. I'm also gonna refill my water bottle. It's not fully gone, but might as well, you know, do a little refill and make sure that I've got enough water with me. And then let's head out and make sure that we have a good rest of our slow day. Currently at a record store. I have never been here before. It's called Long Play, and I've been wanting to come for ages, and I figured because I have a day off, it's my day to like explore, do something new, do something different, and again, pour back into my cup. I decided to come here today and browse and see what they've got. I told the girly pop that I am a reader. What a surprise. And that I wanted something to kind of put as a background to my reading, as a little bit of ambiance. And she recommended something else, which is the Cannonball Adderley compilation mix for jazz songs, which is really nice. I was sampling it in my ears and it sounds really, really nice. And so I like that a lot. It's a contender. However, I came up here to the top floor where they've got a bunch of foreign artists, but like specifically vinyls that are more expensive to source because they come from Asia. And I found the Nausicaa. The Nausicaa vinyl. It's the most expensive out of the ones I have seen, but I love the music in Nausicaa. I have not yet watched the movie, but it's one of those soundtracks that finds itself in playlists a lot, and every time I listen to it, I just think it's beautiful. And it has, again, like that Ghibli vibe that I love, and it just makes for perfect reading ambiance as well. And I love it. I love it so much. It's also the only one they have out of these ones. A lot of the other vinyls they have, you know, many copies of, but this one is the only one they have. And I'm so tempted to take it. I might. It's so pricey, but I might just do it as a little treat myself moment because it's too nice not to. But I'm still browsing. I also, I said if I find something Fleetwood Mac, I might just take it with me because that's one of my favorite bands. And so we'll see what happens. Anything's possible today, but at least the Nausicaa one I think is definitely coming home with me. It's very tempting. I can't not take it, so I'm considering it heavily, but I'm still browsing. I am kind of looking through the used section because you never really know what bangers you're gonna find here. And then I'm gonna go back downstairs because they do have it by alphabetical order, which is super nice because it's, things are easy to find, and we'll go from there. I do have some good things set aside. I also found this one that I thought was really nice. This is a video game lo-fi GoldenEye 007, and it's like a really good backdrop for more action-heavy books, I feel. Maybe something more sci-fi as well. What I also saw down below, and you guys know Hans Zimmer is my weakness. I love that man. They have the Interstellar score, which is also very tempting, so many options are available. They have a lot more options than I thought they would have. So I'll continue to browse and then make some choices. And they do have a coffee shop here, so I am already foreseeing myself on this couch drinking what might be a coffee. And if I do drink a coffee, look the other way, because I'm not supposed to be drinking coffee. I'm supposed to be weaning off it, in fact. But you know what? It's too tempting not to. And then I brought Monte Cristo with me, and I'm gonna read here, okay? And nobody's gonna stop me. And they said I could film, that they're okay with it. So double up. I love it. I love it. Home, hello, and I come bearing updates, gifts, well, not really gifts for myself, which is a gift to you because you get to see it and we talk about it and it's fun. I, however, am going to take a sip of water first because I had a coffee, which, listen, coffee is a double-edged sword for me. It can do nothing, as in not have any side effects, or it can make me nauseous and anxious, or it can make my jaw kind of all out of whack. Vin is also here and she's gonna start rubbing against the tripod, so please excuse my cat who feels like she has to scent mark everything. Hi, baby. So again, a couple of updates. First update, which you guys already know about because you saw it while I was at long play, and I was very much trying to figure out what to do, and this was like the front runner. This was the one that I saw, and there was only one of it, and there were many of other ones that I was seeing. I kind of kept tossing it back and forth. This was the most expensive one, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, it's gonna be a hard bargain for me not to take this, because it's also like the import version that is in Japanese, that's totally reflecting on the sun, but it's so stinking pretty that I couldn't not take it home with me. So this is gonna be great. This is gonna be a great background specifically, I think, for cozier and also fantasy books, because it does have obviously songs that feel higher stakes for when the battle scenes are happening in Nausicaa. So I'm very excited to give this a listen. And look at the inside. I obviously didn't take this out while I was there, just out of respect, because I didn't really know whether I was gonna take it with me. And the top portion of it was already opened, but I figured, you know what? I don't need to add more wear and tear to the actual cover, the actual sleeve, if I'm not gonna take it home with me. And so I decided not to take it out or open it, but The inside is so freaking pretty. I am very curious to see if the vinyl has got any specific color or if it's just gonna be a black vinyl. So let us, okay, it is a black vinyl. But it's the Studio Ghibli stamp that is just so freaking pretty on this thing. Let me see if I can grab a shot of it. There we go. It's that freaking stamp that just looks so freaking cool. So I am very excited to listen to this on the turntable for the first time and see what that sounds like. At some point, I do want to upgrade my turntable, but that'll have to wait because they are very pricey. And so I'll stick to the one I have right now. But this is so freaking beautiful. I really, really love this, so I'm glad I was able to find it. I'm not gonna lie, even though this was expensive, I was like, do they have other Studio Ghibli things? Because if they do, I might have walked home with more than one, but they thankfully did not, because that was a dangerous path to walk down on. And it's funny because when I was checking out, the girly pop was like, do you know what this is called? Because I totally cannot find it in our system. And so she looked extra impressed when I was like, oh, it's Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. She was like, oh. And then I checked out and the rest was history, and it's fantastic. So that was one of the things I got today. And then when I did go to the bookstore, they didn't have too much. They did say that they were getting new stock in July because the International Book Fair is in August. So a lot of like the extra juicy, especially newer title inventory is gonna get there probably mid to late July so that they can do all of the inventory and then prep ahead of time. So she did say she'd let me know when they were getting new stuff in, but I figured because I already have one edition of these penguin cloth bounds for Emma, which is also an Austen book, figured I'd take Mansfield Park with me. I feel at this point in time, even though I might not read every Austen book, this will be something that I start buying kind of sporadically to collect them because I really do like the look of them. So this is where my collector self kind of steps in a little bit and goes, these will be nice on the shelves. I think a whole, maybe one of these like smaller billies full of these sorts of covers, I think will look really nice. So between this and Emma, maybe I'll get the rest of the Austen ones in these particular editions and make like a little Austen shelf. I feel like that could be really nice. Or I could just buy other classics and make a little collection out of it. I did see Monte Cristo when I was at the bookstore in that same cover style, and I was so very tempted, but obviously I already have this cover, which is the one I took with me to long play so that I could have a coffee while I was there and get some reading done. Arguably didn't read that much, but 20 pages of a classic is like 50 pages of a regular book, so I'm calling it a win. I just got to the part where he was apprehended for his alleged crimes and he will be told what reason he got apprehended for after he's taken, which I think is so astounding. Obviously, I'm very used to a particular system, which is, you know, you get told your rights, you get told exactly why you're being arrested and why you're being taken into custody, and then they just stormed into a party and they just took Dante's and they were like, well, you'll know later. I'm like, what do you mean you'll know later? And while it was aligned with what I thought would be the reason why he got apprehended and imprisoned, it definitely was a little bit different than what I was expecting, so I was still very surprised. I think my brother managed to get some good reactions out of me into the camera as I was reading this, and I was shell-shocked to say the least, because while I know the bare synopsis of this, where, you know, we follow Dante's and he's imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit, I really don't know any specifics about the Count of Monte Cristo, which I think is honestly quite impressive given how in the media Monte Cristo is. Like, there's, you know, several adaptations. I feel like it's one of those classics that's very talked about. Obviously, you know, it's huge for a reason, and it's just very much in our culture, I feel. Everybody just talks about what happens in the book and whatnot, and I am very excited that I'm experiencing this literally with no prior knowledge of this whatsoever. I think that's the best way to go into a classic. So I am loving this. I love the writing. It's like so weirdly accessible. And the reason why I say weirdly, and maybe it's because it's translated fiction, because this was originally written in French, and I do find that when it's translated fiction, it tends to be sort of simplified a lot of the time. I think specifically for romantic languages, which tend to be so compound. I know in Spanish, like our our sentences are so long, and there are often a lot of, you know, expressions and mannerisms that cannot be translated to English. I have no doubt that French is the same way. Maybe it's the translated part of it that makes it a little bit more accessible because it's a little bit simplified. And I love it. I love how accessible and conversational it is. It's almost like you're being told like the latest gossip on something, and it keeps you on your toes because you never really know what's gonna happen next. And all of the characters, well, not all of them, but like a lot of them are very freaking petty, but obviously in a very of its time way, and I'm loving it. It's genuinely so juicy, and I didn't expect myself to be enjoying it this much, and I am, which is surprising and lovely all at the same time. So, you know, Monte Cristo was read a little bit while I was sitting there, which was nice. And that's all of the updates that I have got for you right now. My current plan is to potentially go over to my mom's partner's place. She texted us while we were in long play, and she really wants to meet up today. I don't know if they've got any plans, if they're wanting to like order any specific foods, watch a specific movie, which is typically how it goes. We do that every other Sunday, and so it looks like today is one of those days where they're like very hell-bent on doing something. We're gonna head over there very soon. And I am gonna take my yarn to keep on making progress on my cardigan. I am taking the goldenrod, almost like burnt yellow shade. I'm taking this one with me so that I can start the new granny square. And let me show you my stack, because my stack is looking quite nice at the moment. Please hold. We have got a stack of granny squares right here. Hello. So this is what I have got so far for my cardigan project, which, listen, it's quite a bit. It's a project of love. Literally, I didn't realize how long this would take, and I've got family members and friends who are like, oh my god, I would love for you to make me a cardigan, or I would love for you to make me a shirt. I'm like, now that I know what this entails, I mean, not every project is equally as complex, but now that I know what it takes, I'm like, you don't know what you're asking for, because first of all, yarn is expensive. I ended up getting mine at a discount, which is the perfect way to do it, unless it's like buy two, get two free, or like buy two, get one free, and then 40% on top of everything. It's really, really pricey. I would say maybe not even worth it, depending on how much yarn you need. And so I did buy all of the skins of yarn that I needed for this project for $50, which for a cardigan is really not that bad, because these ones right here, which are like, I mean, this one is a generic one I got at the store, you know, like the massively reproduced, not real crochet sort of vibe. These ones are about that price as well, and this is like probably next to nothing to make material wise, so I think $50 was quite good for what I'm making, because what I'm making is also quite big. It's gonna be a little bit bigger than this, so not too shabby, not that bad. Now that I know that's the case, I'm like, ugh, maybe don't ask me for a cardigan just because. Maybe I'll just do that for like a very special occasion. And I'll have to stay tuned to, you know, the promos, and it's probably gonna take a while because it's again, it's a labor of love and time and energy and everything. But after this project, I have to finish a bag I'm making. I'm the type of person that starts a project, doesn't finish it, starts another one, and then 3 months down the line, they're starting to get wrapped up. I'll blame that on the ADHD. However, after these 2 projects are done, I want to make a star blanket. I want to make one so bad, and I'm holding myself back because I did have the urge a couple of days ago to like start it. I was like, what happens if I go to the yarn store and then I get some yarn for it? I thought about it. I did think about it, but I didn't do it. But I thought about it. In due time, I have a friend, again, Gabby, the one that I met up with at the coffee shop, that will keep me accountable. I told her earlier, I was like, I had the biggest urge about 2 days ago, and she's like, don't even dare. So she'll hold me to it because I am as ever-changing as anything else. So there's that, but that's my little stack, which is honestly really good for having been crocheting this for maybe like a month. Slow progress, but not bad. Phil is back home and fully showered and reset for the night. I did go over, obviously, to visit my mom and her partner, and while that was a good time, I didn't film anything. We ended up playing some parchisi and then eating some food, which I do think settled wrong into my stomach. I think it gave me a little bit of acid reflux. It might also just be that my body's out of whack because I did get my period while I was over there. So I am fully in that mood to just chill for the rest of the night. And so I took a shower, reset, did my skincare, took off the makeup, did all the things. And I am now ready to do some reading. I am ready to get back into the Count of Monte Cristo because I read a single chapter while I was over at Long Play. And I kind of wish that I had read more. Well, I think it was a chapter and then some. So I definitely want to read some more before I go to bed. And maybe even finish Fullmetal Alchemist. I do have it right here. I did take it with me when I went over to theirs. However, I didn't get any reading done. I typically do. But today was one of those extra chatty days. We hadn't had a little hangout session in a while. And so we were just chatting it up. And I didn't get to read anything while I was there. But I do have this here, just in case I do want to pick that up. What I did do, however, as we were watching TV and chatting, is I started making progress on a new granny square. So this was all that I did while I was there. And honestly, what else could I want, okay? This is my 20th granny square, so might as well just finish that out. Probably tomorrow morning. I don't think if I'm gonna do any reading tonight that I'm gonna touch that again today. However, tomorrow is a new day. And I was thinking, because we just got a new vinyl today, that we could put that on and make the lighting super cozy and just sit down and read, light a candle, do the thing, and wind down together. I feel like that'd be really nice to, you know, fully bring a day to its close, get the reading done that I actually wanted to get done all day that I wasn't fully able to because I was just on the streets all day, which I was not necessarily expecting, but it also was not the worst thing to happen. So let us put that on. I'm so excited to listen to Nausicaa. I think it's gonna be so good as I get some reading done. So let's plop that on. I am very ready. Morning, friends, and welcome to a new day. Today is Monday, which is the day right after I fell asleep last night reading Monte Cristo on my couch, which I think is very fitting. I think I should have guessed that that was going to happen. I think it was very bold of me to assume that I was going to do any hefty reading of specifically Monte Cristo or really anything at 11 p.m. after being out and about all day and coming home relatively tired. But I was hopeful. I really was hopeful that I was going to get some reading done. However, fell asleep, promptly moved myself to my bed. There's also a WWE brawl happening right behind me. So I moved myself to bed, went to bed, and I woke up this morning and I figured, because I also have a day off today, so I have 2 consecutive days off this week, which is really nice because it doesn't tend to happen. But yesterday was my Sunday off. Sundays I'm typically streaming, which is why Mondays I'm typically off. So this week, just because that's the way things lined up very beautifully, I have 2 consecutive days off. And so I figured, because I was gonna wake up this morning, you know, make some brekkie, take it slow, do some reading, figured I'd take you with me and share. I also feel so weird wearing these frames because I have not worn these in forever. However, I need to change my ototovelonas, which are the tortoiseshell frames that I typically use, because they're old. I have also not checked my prescription in about 2 years now, which is crazy to think about. So I need to double check my prescription just to make sure that it's the right one when I do get new frames made. And then I need to change my frames. Anyways, that to say, I woke up this morning and I figured, let me finish Fullmetal Alchemist Volume 3. And I did, and I gave it 5 stars. I've been having too many 5 stars recently, and it feels wrong to, which is a crazy thing to say, but I have not had a single book under 5-star in, I think, about a month and a half, which is really, really great. However, it feels wrong because I'm not used to that pace. This is definitely on par with volumes 1 and 2, which I love because so far the series has not had any dips, which I enjoy, because in manga sometimes it can be very up and down and not every volume is of the same quality. So it can be quite difficult to make your way through series just because it's not as consistent, and there will be a lot of volumes that will be filler and will not feel as essential to the story as others. And so far with this, although it is very much like that bridge volume before really important things start happening, there are still very important events in this that will impact the story down the line, and moments that I think build on the story and the characters beautifully. And if my memory serves me correctly, I think I had mentioned earlier on in the vlog that one of the reasons why I think the series works so well, it's because it's written by a girly pop, and the fact that this is an industry that's very male dominated, there tends to be a very specific type of narrative structure and certain things that make its way into manga, which, you know, I've enjoyed before. It's not to say that I haven't enjoyed them, because obviously I consume manga often enough. However, I do think that there are certain aspects of the story pertaining to character development and character interpersonal relationships that are written with that, you know, women's touch. It is written with a women's sense of sensibility, and I really do love that. I love that this volume ends up exploring those doubts that exist within the relationship of Edward and Alphonse as siblings, and how their current circumstances and, you know, losing the parts of themselves that they did lose due to that alchemical ritual, how those things weigh very heavily, even if it's silent, in their relationship, and how it almost plants the seed of doubt as far as how much the brothers actually do love each other, and if they are hiding certain resentments that might come up from each other, or even if they're being entirely truthful to each other, which I really did enjoy, because I think with circumstances like theirs, which are obviously very specific but also very heartbreaking in general, I think it'd be very silly to think that there would be no doubt at any point, right? And so I think the author including that in the series is so smart, because I think it also strengthens their bond when they are able to open up to each other and be more vulnerable. I think especially as well because they're so young, I think it's extra realistic that they would be so fearful of bringing these things up, but also so fearful of feeling them and knowing that they exist within the other. And I love how she's approaching that in this specific volume. I'm not sure how much more or less that's going to show up in the subsequent volumes, but I really enjoyed it in this one. She also had this beautiful scene surrounding motherhood in this volume that I'm wholeheartedly in belief was only done because the author is a girly pop, and I loved it. It was so beautiful, so heartfelt, so genuine, and such a beautiful ode to mothers and motherhood in a way that I wouldn't necessarily expect from manga. I think I'm more so used to reading manga about shitty mothers that are kind of out of their own psyche, and I really love this depiction where it's more joyful and almost celebratory of a first-time mother and what it means to be a mother, and, you know, the beauty and the mysticism behind, you know, somebody else growing in your own body. I have no desire to be a mother personally, at least not at this point in my life, but I do think it's a beautiful thing what our bodies are able to do, and I really love the way that it shows up in this volume, which was very unexpected but also very much welcomed. It was very, very nice, and the way that the plot thickens in this one, I can't wait to see how it continues to impact the story, just in terms of the state alchemist and the state of things now with what happened in this volume. So this was a great way, I think, to have a more passive volume whilst also building on the story very successfully. And so I'm really enjoying this. I definitely have to get myself volume 4 now so that I can read that next month. And while I was at the mall yesterday to go to the bookstore, my brother did find a store that had a bunch of collectible like Funko Pops and a bunch of collectible action figures. And I did see a Funko Pop Edward Elric that I was very, very tempted to take home because it's the Edward performing an alchemical ritual. And I almost did it. I know, listen, a couple of years ago, I made a bookshelf roast, and I know people will bring this up and be like, oh my god, I thought you hated Funko Pops. I do. Maybe, perhaps. I don't know anymore. What's happening? Who am I? All I know is sometimes I see things from things I love, like I have now 2 Pokemon Funko Pops, and I do have one from House of the Dragon. It's just so big that I don't know where to put it on my shelves. I have 3, technically. And I did see that one yesterday, and I was so tempted to take it home because I was like, if I'm building a little Fullmetal shelf, how cute would a little Edward in his alchemical ritual, how cute would that look on that shelf? But I obviously don't have every single volume yet. And I was like, you know, I'm still only at that time, I was only 2 volumes in. So I was like, I'm not sure if I do want to like get this. I mean, obviously my hope and dream right now is to be able to get through the entire series, read them all, collect them all. But I suck at reading manga series because it's 18 volumes. I'm like, will I not? It's, by the way, it's that amount of volumes for like these specific editions. So I'm like, do I not? I mean, I want to. I definitely will try, but I didn't want to get ahead of myself, but I think I'm gonna go back and get it. That being said, however, you know what I want more than anything right now? I want a whole ass grilled cheese. That's what I would love for breakfast. But I am training today because I do have taekwondo. I've already washed my uniform. I washed it just now in the morning. So I have to eat protein. But the urge in me to be lazy today and just have a grilled cheese is too strong. But I have to be responsible. But I want a grilled cheese so bad. I could do grilled cheese and eggs, but like, I just want the grilled cheese. But I guess we're gonna go make some eggs. I look a little bit crazy right now, but this is Editing Mel right here to say that I just got done editing today's video and I realized I never recorded an outro. I mentioned how I was gonna go about my morning with y'all and finish Fullmetal, which I did do, give you guys the final rating, final thoughts, make some breakfast, and then I just forgot to record an outro. I went to Taekwondo on Monday and did the thing, and then I came back home and I guess I just never ever considered anything about closing this video out. So this is me in the future, or I guess in my present, in your past, wherever you consider me to be from, to close this video out. Putting up my hair because it's bothering me right now. However, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up as usual. Make sure to comment down below what you've been up to, what you've been reading recently. If you're crocheting or if you're into any other cozy hobby, let me know what you've been up to recently. Are you currently working on a project? What are you gaming right now? I want to know all the details, so make sure to share down below if you want to. If you have read Monte Cristo, if you're into Fullmetal Alchemist, do you think I should go back for that Funko Pop? It's very tempting to, and I am thinking of doing it, especially now that I'm 3 volumes in. I'm like, well, maybe there's like no backtracking. Maybe I do need to go back and get it and add it to the shelves, because I do have the space in like my skinny billies to put the entire Fullmetal collection and then a Funko Pop. I think it'd look really nice. So make sure to comment all of those things down below. And if you reach the very end of the video, let us leave some egg emojis, okay? Because I was struggling to make eggs Monday morning, but I did do it. And I did eat a nice breakfast before I headed out to Taekwondo that day. So make sure to comment some eggs down below if you reach the very end. Subscribe down below if you haven't done so already for more content like this. And as always, if you want more extra content, Patreon is always linked down below. It is what I consider, outside of watching the videos, the best way to support the channel. We do a ton of streams because I do take a more stream heavy approach to the Patreon. So we're literally sprinting right now as I am closing out this video for y'all. And we also do cozy game nights and movie nights. We also do cozy hobby hangouts and a bunch of other stuff that you might not want to miss outside of the book club and Discord server and everything else. We're always up to something over on Patreon. So make sure to check it out down below. A huge shout out to my patrons as I'm talking about this for continuously supporting the channel and being their absolute best, most supportive and also kind of selves, because without y'all, this thing would not be possible. It is the one thing that helps make this a much more sustainable endeavor than it would be otherwise. So a huge shout out goes out to them, to the entire Citadel for being part of this amazing tight-knit family. Again, always down below if you want to check it out. No pressure, no anything. If you don't want to, if that's not your cup of tea, it is totally okay, but it does exist in case you do want to check it out. And if you're interested, I love you guys the mostest, and I will see you on the next one. Bye guys. Goodbye.